So I thought I'd have a little chat around sketchbooks and why I keep them. It's so many reasons why I keep a sketchbook. I think that they are just places to put life, or snippets of life. I wouldn't say I have everything that happens to me, obviously, in a sketchbook, but it's nice to take the chance to record things, and I'm always happy when I've made the effort to sit down and stop and record something in a sketch. This one is our backyard. I started it in 2019. I'm still going, adding little bits and pieces as I see them. There's so much wildlife around us. So we live on 3/4 of an acre, and we back out onto some bushland. So these are our neighbours, and so this sketchbook's full of observations of the critters that we live with, the neighbours, wallabies and koalas that come through sometimes. Everything from what's growing in the garden to who visited the bird box one hot summer's day, and trees and local birds. So they're places where I can write a little bit if I feel like it. I can observe stuff. I try and make notes of things, recording the flora and fauna and Noel. And it's nice to write, but I'm not really a big writer, although there's a few pages here. I'm just as happy to record something of my world, and some of the things I appreciate. Familiarity, right where it should be. Birds in our firewheel tree that bloomed for the first time in 25 years. It was very exciting. And the birds went crazy over all those lovely flowers. Our resident frogmouth at the moment, it's a young one, camouflaged. So everything from pumpkins to ponds, it can all go in your book. You know, you choose, you decide. Sometimes it's wishful thinking, wishing my son was home. Things around me. So it could be that you record what is going on around you. Maybe you like the nature journaling sort of thing. And so maybe that's of interest to you. Maybe you like sardines. Always paint sardines whenever you get a chance. So I'm just going to roll through a few of these sketchbooks and just pull out things when I feel they might be of interest or reminding me of great memories. Drawing at the museum. I do love the museum. Drawing outside in the quarry. I use all sorts of different media in my sketchbooks because these are just places to play and to muck around and try things and, you know, amuse yourself. So I guess you need to decide what you want to do with a sketchbook, what you want to focus on, whether it's nature journaling or whether it's things around you in your home. I mean, now is a great time to sort of be, you know, looking at what's around us, because we're stuck in our homes. We've usually got family to draw though. So even if we can't get out, and there are always plastic animals. Plastic animals are great fun, and there's lots to be looking at online. I occasionally pull up some lessons online and have a look and do some refresher stuff with the great material that's available out there. Character development. Well, we can't do those days at the beach at the moment, can we? Sad. We can't do. We can't go out to exhibitions. Can't travel on the train. Well, maybe we can. I'm not sure actually. Are the trains open? I don't know. Maybe we can draw our friends at a socially appropriate distance. But there are always plastic dinosaurs. Now I can't get to the museum, which is of great distress to me, because I love drawing up there. So I've had to put this sketchbook away for the time being because I can't get back there. So that was the last drawing I did at the museum a month or so ago. But you know, I have been up there drawing for quite some years, on and off, and of recent years quite a lot, because I've been enjoying following the taxidermists around and documenting the important work that they do. So that's all on hold for the time being. They're always sardines. Sardines and plastic dinosaurs. We will always have them with us. Travel diaries. It's probably a bit cruel to show you travel diaries right now, isn't it, when we can't get out? This was New Zealand a few years ago. But, you know, your sketchbook's a great place to... It's a great thing to take when you go on holidays. I mean, you know, you just hunker down and actually look, and don't just rely on your phone to absorb memories and atmosphere and tell something of a story of what happened on your holiday or on your travels. I can recommend a sketchbook for that purpose. And this is a fun idea. Why not document everything you're eating and drinking at the moment? This is one I did a few years ago, and I kept it up for, I think it was 93 days. Yep. And, you know, it was really interesting to see all the things that I ate and drank and consumed over that period of time. Yum. I'm putting this away now because I'm getting hungry. What else have we got? This is another everyday sketchbook. So I always have a sketchbook in my bag with me, so that wherever I am I can be drawing and writing down quotes. I don't know who said that. To learn is to make yourself voluntarily and temporarily incompetent. That's a good one. Dogs. Always draw dogs. Again, train travel. Dinosaurs. Not plastic that time. That was the Mudabarasaurus at the museum. Plants. And they don't mind it if you get them in the wrong spot too. So plants are good. There's not really much you can't put in your own sketchbook. And in whatever medium you want. These are just pencil studies of it's a line decker. Great master of designing a line. Might be the chooks. You know, it's really wide and varied. Oh, my little dog. And now look, that's sad, but glad I did that last drawing of her, and then we lost her not long after. So, you know, these things become a bit precious actually, as a memory of time gone by. It's not everything that happens in my life, and life is jerky, but exhibition. Yeah, it's a great thing to take to a show, to have a little draw when we eventually get back out there, and when we eventually get back out to cafes and art galleries. In the meantime, we've got our Instagram feeds. Sometimes I steal snatches from different people's Instagram feed and put that in there. Oh, that was my wisdom tooth extraction. I'm needle phobic, so that was really stressful. So I was drawing as a way of coping mechanism. That's another thing that we can use our sketchbooks for. A way of breathing and seeing the world. This was an artist in residency out at Broome. No, it's not Broome. Yes, this is Broome. Get it right. That's right, this was Broome. Yeah, it was great. So this was 9 days on the west coast, and the colour, I mean, my goodness. The colour of that water and the colour of that Pindon sand, unbelievable. Takes me right back there. I can feel the heat and the flies, and I can smell that water. Maybe it was that dead shark. The kites. I was there looking at migratory shorebirds as part of my Research for Australian Future project, but yeah, it was so great observing wildlife and using a telescope, because that's all I could see of the birds without the scope, and with the scope. So yep, worth trying to squint down that telescope and try and draw from life. It was really a wonderful time. Oopsies. Nasties happened there. Great memories. So many. See, this is the thing. I look back now on these little rubbishy sketches, but I remember everything. I remember the conversations I was having. I remember the sound. I remember the heat. I remember all these students helping us. We were doing a cannon netting of the birds, and so all these people were standing around getting a briefing, and then when they started catching the birds and they were being processed, they had to have their bloods taken and their DNA, and they're getting sexed, and they're having, tags put on their little wrists and everything. And so I was sort of documenting as it was all happening, but everything gets stuck to these drawings. So it's an amazing thing when you can draw in the moment. Something happens, I don't know. So, this is back at the museum. So same thing here. It's a great opportunity to draw from the taxidermied mouse, which is the closest thing I'm going to get to a black-throated finch at this point. But it's also great to document what the taxidermists are doing, what the curators and the collections managers and all the people who look after our natural history collection in Queensland, and document a little bit of what they do and the snatches of conversation that you will only hear in a museum. So I really miss the museum, but I know hopefully that we'll get back there. So in the meantime, I'll just have to put up with drawing from home. Okay, so we have got ourselves here a plastic crab, as one does. And although I can't get to the museum to draw, where's my brush gone? Oopsies. I can use this fabulous plastic specimen from the lovely people in China, and I can make myself a drawing. Now, what I'm going to do is, rather than draw it first and then, colour it in, so to speak, I'm actually going to do it the other way around. I'm just going to look at these large silhouette shapes, and I'm going to put that big shape in first. And I'm going to work fairly quickly because I don't want to be sort of stressing over this and making too much of it. It's really a I want to try and circumvent my normal way of working, which is to be pretty detail-y and getting all caught up in that, which I will in a minute do, but at the moment with this part for the colour, I'm actually just going to pop it all in pretty quickly. Where I think, how many colours have we got? One more to go in there. Where I think things need to be, more or less. Okay, now, just to make it interesting, I think I will drop in the some colour into some of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Okay, so my drawing is pretty much dry now, and in fact I blotted it off just to sort of hasten the process, and I really like these little bits here that have sort of changed when I've blotted it with the tissue. So I'm going to try this exercise with a brush pen. This is a Pentel Pocket brush pen, and you don't have to use it, but I really love the marks I get from it. So I've got a brown and a black, but I think I'll try the black. And unlike when I put the watercolour down and I just went really fast and I just put that big shape down, didn't really spend too much time on it. Now, as I'm going to draw on top, I am going to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to sort of look a little bit more carefully, and I'm going to do my detailed drawing. I'm not going to snap to the edge and just trace over where my watercolour is. I do want to sort of look and make my judgments based on what I see now and where I think things should go. And if that doesn't line up with my watercolour, my colour, that's fine. In fact, that's actually what I'm aiming for. So I'm going to take this this line of the carapace here and draw right around that large shape. And the beautiful thing about the brush pen is that the line variation that you can get depending on how much pressure you put on it. So it's a lovely drawing tool, you know, sort of beloved of cartoonists and illustrators and artists who love that kind of graphic quality of. I like the calligraphic nature of it. I love the. It's a joy to draw with. It's lovely and fluid, and just so much fun. So draw around the edge of that large shape, the carapace of the crab. I think that's what it's called. Carapace? I think so. I'm going to fill in some of these little marks, like the crab 6-pack, that are the markings on the back of the crab. I mean, my highlights aren't in the right spot, but that doesn't matter. It's not an exact science. That's the whole point. And this is particularly good exercise for me because I tend to get a bit caught up in the details of things, and it's sort of short circuits my normal my normal way of working, which is to get all hung up on detail, and this is just a lovely way to short circuit that. So I'm working my way around these legs and just putting in what I can see. I mean, I know it's a plastic crab, for Pete's sake. It's not the real thing, but it's still enjoyable, and thank you to the lovely people in China who make these plastic creations. So I'm adjusting things as I go. If it doesn't match my watercolor, that's okay. Not worried at all. I'm really just trying to be a little bit careful and a little bit faithful to what I'm seeing. So I'll put the lines down where I think they need to be. And in a perfect world, I think I probably wouldn't have made that blue so dark because it's actually a bit hard to see where my lines are going. So the colour that you choose as your sort of silhouette colour, the big block of colour that you put down, just keep in mind to keep that a little bit light so that you can actually see. There's a little bit of a boxy shape in this front claw here, so try and add a little bit of the form lines I'll work out the angle of how this claw's coming out. My colour's in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to have to move that over. That's okay. And taking your time over this is the fun part. It's kind of meditative and calming. Just move you into a different space and allow you to just look. There's a few little shadows in here, which I'm sort of going back in. I have to be careful not to overdo that, I think. But there are some areas here that I can see have, yeah, I'm just going to add a little bit there. See how that goes. We should stop now. Yep, okay. Leave that. All right, so this back leg, where are we up to? It's kind of jointed here. And it's coming out to a lovely, I like the way they're sort of articulated, these, well, the real crabs are, not so much the plastic one, but the joints are really cool. How do they come out from body? What shape are they? So, you know, when I'm thinking about it, I'm not thinking I'm drawing a crab as much as I'm just drawing a series of shapes. And what are the relationships between those shapes to each other? How wide, how thick, what are the negative shapes that I can see in between the positive shapes? And yeah, just get really engaged in the joy of observation and making judgments about where things should go. So there's a little contour drawing, obviously. There's looking at these cast shadows underneath the carapace onto the top of the claw there. Some nice shapes. Put those in. So it is basically a contour drawing, you know, not sort of getting too hysterical about the shading, just putting in the outline and enjoying that aspect of it. And this is where drawing from life, from plastic, drawing from the thing in front of you rather than a photo of the thing, is just so much more joyful, so much more fun, because there's heaps more information for a start, and you have to make the choices. So I'm going back in and just adding where I feel that there needs to be some heavier shadows to sort of show the way things wrap around, and the way that the shell is casting a shadow across the top of the claws. In under here there's a lovely shape, put that in. Just lifts the shell up off the legs by showing that there's a space under there that's got a shadow under it. So I'm looking at this carapace underneath here. The local colour is light, but I don't know, what would it look like if I put that all in with dark? Let me just, yeah, well, maybe it could have stayed, but it's gone now. It's a shadow now. So, you know, I don't care if I make choices that I then instantly regret, or I think, oh, I should have, could have, would have. It doesn't matter. It's a sketchbook. So if I really can't stand it, I'll turn the page. But it's a place to play, and it doesn't have any great, I don't know, weight to it really. It's just an enjoyable thing to do. Enjoy the feeling of the pens. So the shadows, I'm thinking I want to put these shadows in where it's sitting on the page, but I'm using a Tombow. Chosen a bit of a cool blue. Not sure how that'll go, but let's whack it in anyway and see what happens. Again, these are just fun things to play with, and it's always interesting that usually what happens is there's often a disconnect between the watercolor and the drawing, and I love the fact that things shift and move, and it has a sort of almost like a double image thing happening, where it's like those old printed images where the prints, the subsequent colors didn't quite match up, and there's a lovely disconnect. I really like that. I enjoy what that looks like. So this exercise is all about putting those large shapes in. Large shape first in the case of the large silhouette shape, and then put in the detail, have fun, go to town on the detail with the drawing, and see what you come up with. You can use any object. It doesn't have to be a plastic crab.